Hello, hi, and welcome to EmpathicFire. I am your reader, Jay. These are going to be general messages for the sign of Aries in the month of July 2020. Hello, Aries. How are you guys doing? I hope that you're doing well. What is going on with my sleeve here? That's not comfortable. There we go. Anyway, hi guys. How are you guys doing? How's everything? Welcome to summer. Welcome to a little bit over the halfway point of 2020. Hopefully, Aries, wherever you are in the world, I hope you're happy. I hope you're safe. I hope that you're healthy. Same to you and all the people that you know and love. It's still a pandemic out there, so please be safe. Take all your precautions as necessary to go about your life and do what you need to do. And of course, still wishing positivity and wellness upon everybody in the world. It's still, quite a distressing time across the nation here in America and other parts of the world. I'm sure it's still very much the same. A lot of stress, a lot of uncertainty. And, 2020 is turning out to be a whopper, isn't it, huh? So no matter where you are, no matter what you're going through, I just hope it all plays out for the best for you, and where you can, when you can, err on the side of positivity, err on the side of optimism, err on the side of raising your spiritual vibration, your energetic vibrations, and all that good stuff, okay? All right, guys, let's get into it. Shuffled off camera, Aries. That is your main spread there. I'm going to shuffle on camera now for your outcome and your overall energy. Excuse me. That was sudden. Once all the cards are out and they're lying face up on the table, that's when the reading begins. The timestamp is in the description box if you want to jump ahead. Also down there, you will find the information you need if you want to get a personal reading with me. If you have a question before you place an order, just email me at the same address and I'll answer you as soon as I can. And you will find the link to the Instagram down there. The name is EmpathicFire Tarot. Pulling oracle cards as often as I can. Just did a pick a card a couple days ago for the first time ever. That was pretty fun energetically for me. But if you're interested in following me on that platform, again, the link is in the description, all right? All right, guys, let's get into it. I want to see the outcome for Aries in July 2020. Aries outcome in July 2020. Please show me. It was kind of a while to get this spread to come out, though. Might not be in the most... Yeah, okay. Might not be in the most talkative mood, but we'll see. Bottom of the deck is the overall energy. Whoa. Okay, there we go. Let's flip everything that came face down for you, Aries, before we get started. And of course, that guy too. Okay. Alright, Aries, let's see what's going on. Please show me where Aries is in July 2020. Aries in July 2020, please show me. Alright, there we go. Okay, there we go. Alright, Aries, here we go. Come into July, you come in with the energy of the Six of Swords. All right, friends, moving on, ready to go. Done with a situation, done with a person, done with something. Six of Swords isn't about completion necessarily, but it is kind of about having your fill or feeling, kind of over it, right? There's dissatisfaction, or the card that precedes this in tarot is the Five of Swords, so there could be disagreements that you're turning your back on. Like I kind of sort of like how this card is depicting. When least expected, possibly in the shadows of night, or in the middle of a pandemic, something is changing, or something about you is changing, or you're changing your surroundings, or you're changing your job, you're changing the way you behave, or the way in terms of tarot, swords relating to communication, you might be changing how or when you speak to a person. You might go ghost on a person, someone might go ghost on you, but the point of the matter is the way something is currently, a relationship, a job, your own personal journey, something to do with your own development, is just no longer satisfactory. It's actually very strife, or it's full of strife, thank you. And who wants to do that? Like, I get the sense of, I don't want to do this, I don't want to be involved in this anymore, I don't want to engage in this situation, in this discussion anymore. and I'm through, right? It's, for me, feels like a self-preservation tactic as well as simply a reaction or a response, okay? In some of your cases, Aries, it feels like this is like the last straw for you. This is your last option, is to move on, is to pack up and go, is to turn away from. Like, Aries, you're not, well, okay, I'll take, I was about to say something, but then we're like, just remember. Okay, so I was going to say Aries isn't known for diplomacy. However, your opposite sign is Libra, right? And Libra is known for diplomacy. Your first house, Libra, is seventh house. And both of those have to do with relation to others, right? In the sense, or maybe not relation to others. How can I put this? First house, Aries, that's you. You relate to self. And then seventh house is about relating to others. And in both situations, you kind of have to look at other people to find out, well, I'm not them, right? So God, this is sort of like a little touchy on psychology 101. But in order to define the self, who you are as an individual, you kind of have to understand other people, right? A lot of what you can affirm about yourself is because you can say, well, I'm not XYZ like that person. And so what I'm sensing is your sense of diplomacy, your sense of care about how other people are factoring in is kind of out the window. So that's where I was originally going with this line of thought, is you're not known for diplomacy, but almost ironically, or maybe not ironically, but more recently, you may have been erring on the side of diplomacy. Does that make sense? So where normally Aries isn't known to be that person or those archetypes, that zodiac sign of, what do you think? What's your opinion? What's your input on the situation? I think you're coming off of a season of that, off of trying that approach, and it didn't get you anywhere. You may have been deferring to other people in terms of decision making. You may have been deferring to other people in terms of like their sensibilities. And I get the sense, like I said, of like a self-preservation, putting yourself first. Now, I'm very unaware of what's going on astrologically, other than Saturn, Jupiter, and Mercury, as of today, are all in retrograde. I'm pretty sure like those are the three. I think we had something going on with the moon sometime around now, but I can't remember. Today is July 7th. Or excuse me, July 7th. Oh God, July 3rd. So I'm not sure if astrologically speaking something is affecting this mindset for you, but it feels very self-preservation, me first, or if not you solo, because there are multiple people in that boat, right? In this rowboat, in the illustration. So it could be you're thinking of you and your children first. It could be you're thinking of you and your other family members or business partners first. And I feel that it's quote unquote correct, because whatever predated it, whatever you're reacting to, whatever you're responding to, like this is the last resort. This is the last thing you know how to do, right? So many of you were trying not to be, quote unquote, like your old selves and like work through a situation, find a negotiation point, find a place of compromise with someone you know personally, with your bosses, with in a legal situation. Maybe some of you are having legal problems or struggles over something related to your stability or your finances. I don't know. And as that became tiresome, or as it was proven to you that it wasn't going to go anywhere, or it wasn't going to get you the result that you were after, or any practical result, more to the point, it feels like you're just like, well, screw it, I'm going to go over here, or I'm going to leave this situation as is, because there's no reason for me to continue to give into it. And that, again, does play a little bit to your opposite sign. Okay, again, and I've said this a couple times in different readings. If you're new to astrology, or you're new to understanding yourself, your own sign, I would also take a little bit of time to study your opposite sign. Opposite signs tend to be similar in certain aspects, but then they also do, it's like, it's like this, it's like two sides of the same coin, right? Your value is the same. If you have a quarter, Whether you're looking at the head of a quarter, the head side of a quarter, or the tail side of a quarter, it's still a quarter, right? The value is still the same, but the artwork on it is different, and they symbolize different things. One is the head of Washington, and the other side is it's an eagle, right? So they're, symbolically they mean different things, but the value is still the same. So my point is, look at what Libra is known for, and then look at what you're known for, and kind of learn a little bit about yourself by studying the opposites. And I keep mentioning Libra, or I keep pointing this out, so some of you might be dealing with a Libra. I don't see any cards of Libra here. No, I don't see any cards of Libra here strongly, but that might play for some of you who are entangled with a Libra. Now, let's move on. What else is going on for Aries at this time in July? Please show me. Okay, so yeah, you spent a good amount of time being hung up on something. Hangman. Secondary major for Pisces. Could have been dealing with a Pisces, but you don't have to be. Or some of you could be born on the cusp of Pisces. Oh my God, I almost forgot who I'm talking to. You Aries who are born in late. Jeez, I can't even think. March. Thank you, right? No, April. What? Oh. Those of you that are born in late March might have been born near the cusp of Pisces. Mercury retrograde for sure. I've had a lot of brain fog today. So anyway, you might be dealing with a Pisces. You don't have to be, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, point is, you were somewhere before, and to some extent dealing with the energy of perspective, or changing your perspective, or trying to help someone change their perspective, or hoping that someone would change their perspective. It'll go either way. Either this was you, or this was someone that you're dealing with. And the Hangman is sort of, it's like a light call to action. It's not overt. It's not asking for someone to change their personality or change how they feel about a situation, or again, their perspective, like that, like with the snap of a finger. But it is encouraged, or it is the crux of the matter. The core of the matter is misunderstanding, or missing the point, or missing the bigger perspective. And as the artwork depicts, you've got this tiger suspended by its hind leg. So a very ferocious animal rendered useless. Okay. I meant to say helpless, but we'll go with useless or helpless. And so that could have been what was going on for you. You may have felt as if your hands were tied behind your back, and you were kind of rendered useless or helpless in a situation. And that, whether that was done purposely to you by another person, someone stripped you of your own capabilities to be effective in a situation. If it was, you can push back on this, but maybe it's the universe. A lot of people wouldn't view it this way, but I've been viewing it this way. Is this pandemic, not only is it a horrible thing to deal with, and it's stressful, and it's filled us with uncertainty, it's also been this time period for all of us to be sort of on this timeout and do some self-reflection. And I've noticed in my personal life, in my business life, and just globally, or nationally at least, it feels like a lot of people are, quote unquote, wasting this time. And that's not a knock on anybody. I'm not trying to shade anybody, and I'm not trying to come in here and act like, I have the answers to everything. But I find that a lot of people are having a lot of cognitive dissonance. A lot of people are having a hard time recognizing their own faults in the middle of a time where everybody's faults are coming to the surface, everybody's struggles, everybody's quote unquote dark side is sort of rising up, or the issues that, can no longer be hidden. Because when the pandemic first started and I was doing readings, it was really heavily based on interpersonal relationships. I remember the energy was very domestic. It was very, now that we're all stuck home 7 days a week, nobody's going to soccer practice, nobody's going out to dinner, everything is locked down. I was sensing in the energy, and I have seen working with clients, you had people in long-term relationships that were beginning to know their partner in ways that they didn't know them before, simply because you maintain separate schedules, and you kind of didn't overlap as much. Now that you're home all the time, those idiosyncrasies are revealed. In some cases, a lot of trouble was just revealed, right? That's what happens when you're in the hangman. You're suspended. You can't go anywhere. Work is shut down. Socializing is shut down. And you are perpetually put in a situation that is uncomfortable, being hung upside down by the ankle or by the hind leg. And in that time, the universe, God, source, spirit, Buddha, Jesus, whatever you believe in or don't believe in, is asking you, what's up? What are the things about your situation, about yourself, about that person, about this person, whatever, that is being revealed to you that you need to see through a different lens, that you need to change your perspective on, or you need to see for the first time ever. So that's what I'm getting. Between these two cards, Aries, you or someone that you're dealing with, or just the energy that you're in, is waking up to things being what they, maybe not what they didn't used to be, but seeing something through new eyes. Seeing a person through new eyes, seeing a situation, your own journey through a new set of eyes, and realizing, I don't want to do it like I used to. I don't want to approach this like I used to. I don't want to engage with this person, with these people, whatever, the way I used to, and moving on from that in a preserving type of energy, okay, or mindset, I should say. So again, I think this is coming to as a shock to some of you, or the way in which you're doing it might be shocking, because if I'm honest, this feels very night and day. Not the change itself, but your act on the change, or your inaction of the change, or your inaction of moving on from something is like that. The change hasn't been, it's evolved, it's come up over time, it's developed over time, you're aware of that, but the changes that you're about to enact, or the things that you're about to move forward with or move away from, that is sudden. So, and I think I said that when I was shuffling your cards. Getting the spread took a while, and then even while I was searching for your, or shuffling for your outcome, it didn't feel like there was a lot of communication going on, ironically. Well, not ironically. No, okay, thank you. And they're like, right there. Not a lot of communication was going on, or communication that was super effective. So what do I see? I see this Knight of Swords up here. Excuse me. Air sign energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. So there's the mention of Libra again. Knights, pages, kings and queens, they can represent all of the air signs in the different elements. So this is like normally fast acting, right? Quick movement, yeah? Some of you might be moving very quickly. Some of you might be packing up, moving to a new place, breaking a lease, breaking a contract in some of your cases. But the Knight of Swords, whether it's you or someone else, is usually acting in their own behest. They usually don't show a lot of care or concern for other people. They are very unaware of how selfish they can be, or how reactionary they can be, instead of... It's like this personality type of, like I said, someone who thinks a lot, who has the ability to communicate, but chooses not to. Or after careful research, gets all the answers that they want from said research, and then they act without consulting other people. And that can be good, that can be bad. I don't know the specifics of your situation, Aries, but it feels as though how this is being interpreted from other people, because again, it comes right above this hangman position. And I feel that your energy is mixed in the sense of, I'm talking to you, but then I'm also talking to other people you're dealing with. And everybody is feeling the same thing, or because you're involved in the same circumstances, working together, living together, sharing a relationship, sharing an apartment, whatever, you're both affected, or all of you, however many people we're talking about, right? And so for both people, the communication could have been biting, could have been spiteful, could have been, hot, like flare-ups, after maybe like a day or two of not talking to someone, or, a situation, the last conversation kind of kind of bubbled over or burst, and then it cools down, and then there's like another burst, like another eruption, right? So volatile is another way we could say that. Thank you. And it feels as though that energy for you, like, if I'm honest, Aries, you're kind of in your mode where it's just like, well, I have to do what I have to do to make sure that I'm okay, to make sure my family's okay, to make sure my business is okay, to make sure my livelihood is intact, whatever, whatever, whatever. And your motivation is very sort of tunnel vision. Tunnel vision. Look at the scope in which we see the Knight of Swords in a very tight vision or frame. You know, in other cards, the artwork extends the length of the card, and we see the full body of characters, the full body of the Page of Cups, the full body of the Ace of Cups, right? We don't see the full body of the Knight. We see him, mostly we see his horse, if you think about what takes up the amount of the illustration. So it's like, you're so focused on what you are after, what you want to communicate, what you want to study, what you want to understand. In some cases, you were so focused on your glow up, your spiritual uptick, which is perfect. I support that all the way, but to the exclusion of other people or to the exclusion of other people's knowledge. Like, basically, you were working on something, nobody else knew you were working on this thing, and then you tell people, hey, I'm doing this now, and people are like, whoa, wait, Aries, what? And it's a shock. It's a surprise to them. And again, it can come off in this element, or come off in this, it can come off selfish to people, especially if you've been working closely with a person, living with another person, spending, you know, X amount of time building a relationship with someone, and then you change course without consulting the other from their perspective. From their perspective, you change course and you don't consult them, and you're kind of like, well, I consulted you. And in an Aries perspective, asking a question one time and whatever the response may be, that was your consultation. That was when I consulted you. I asked you. Or I mentioned this thing one time, you didn't say anything about it, so that was what I came away with. Oh, this person doesn't care that I'm deciding to go this route, or this person isn't interested in me making these moves, so I'm just going to make these moves. Like, I've said this about Aries since the beginning of time, since I've understood what Aries are about. Aries doesn't like to beat a dead horse. Aries doesn't like to waste their breath. When they say what they say, they mean what they say. So if you miss it, if you miss the context, if you miss the context clues, if you miss the specifics or the details, Aries is kind of like, but I already said it. And someone else could be like, well, wait a minute, I didn't hear that. Well, I did say it. It's not my fault you didn't listen, but I did say it. So it's a little contentious, this Knight of Swords energy. I think you're using it as a form of propulsion. I think that you're using it or utilizing this energy in the way of, it's helping you get over something. It's helping you move away from this stuck energy or this reflective energy that the hangman put you in. Whether you were appreciative of that experience, whether you were not, I don't know. Most of you are not appreciative of it because your desire to move is so strong with the Six of Swords, and that's why this Knight of Swords is like the propulsion, the fuel, right? Nothing gets in this guy's way. The Knight of Swords, nothing gets in that person's way. When you encounter that in tarot, it's a determined energy to move on, to move from point A to point B, from point B to point C, C to D, and on and on and on and on and on and on. There's never any, oh, I forgot something, let me go back to point A, even though I'm already at point G, but I gotta go back to point A. It's like, oh, you know, it's kind of like a constant thrusting forward. Like, this is no turning back, basically. Okay, so what is this dealing with? Or maybe not what this is dealing with, but what I feel this is here is, I think at the heart of the matter, Aries, you're seeking some type of calmness or peace or some resolution for yourself personally, and you're putting yourself to the forefront here. And that, I don't know why this is coming out, or why I'm like made to feel uncomfortable by saying this. Okay. For some of you, if you've been like dedicated to a job, to a person, to a relationship, to your own journey, and now you're suddenly moving away from that, not to say that you're necessarily breaking up with people or quitting a job or whatever this is, that could be here for some of you. I don't want to say it's for everybody. But this change that you're going through, that's for yourself. Other people are hard to understand it or hard to appreciate your journey, hard to appreciate what it takes for you to have gotten to where you are, where you're saying, this is what I want, or this is what I don't want anymore, and over there is what I want, and I'm going to go that way. And people are just kind of like, but wait a minute, how come? And you're, again, because you didn't necessarily communicate over and over. You may have said it once. Maybe some of you said it 2 or 3 times, but for most you said it at least once, and people didn't understand, or people didn't take you seriously, or people didn't appreciate it. And I feel this sense of, well, that's too bad for them. You know? And some people are like, but Aries, I thought we had something going here. I thought we had a good relationship. I thought we had a good business. I thought we had a good vibe together. And you're kind of like, not really. Not that you didn't. It's more of like a, yeah, we did, but now I'm doing this. So, Ace of Cups. Is that right? Yes. Ace of Cups is interesting. Oh, that's very interesting. You offer this to yourself. Aries, I'm all about it. Self-love is very important. Taking care of yourself, your wellness, your happiness is super important. To rely on others, maybe not rely, but you can't have anything substantial in terms of happiness, contentment, love, and affection if you don't have it with yourself first, right? If you don't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love somebody else, as RuPaul would say, right? And anybody else with sense would say that. So that's kind of what I feel here, is where maybe that period where I was discussing earlier with the Six of Swords, I feel as though you're coming from a period, a season of your life, a time in your life where more than ever possibly in your life before, you were consulting others, you were deferring to the needs and wants of other people, or you were trying to negotiate that, trying to compromise more often than not. And I feel that Aries doesn't do anything without seeking satisfaction, seeking contentment, seeking happiness. So as you gave of yourself, as you gave towards a situation, as you made moves to negotiate, you were not finding satisfaction. You were not finding true happiness. And some of you have come to realize, oh, that's because I wasn't loving myself first. So I'm going to start doing that now. Kudos. That sucks for other people. I can tell you, other people are not appreciating that message. You may not convey that message to them in the way that I just conveyed it to you, but you know that's the truth. I can't do this way because I'm not loving myself. I'm not happy with things as they are. I'm not happy with the way I'm showing up here. I'm not happy with the things I'm getting in return. Therefore, I'm changing the game, and that game now is solitaire. Before we were playing pity pat, before we were playing spades or go fish or whatever. That's a 2-person game at least. Now I'm just going to go play solitaire by myself. And that's okay. But I feel that it's unsavory. Interesting. That's unsavory for other people. They don't understand where this is coming from. And again, it's because of that lack of communication, or that one moment of communication where maybe in one explosive argument or one very tense and possibly unexpected or sudden conversation, you laid all your plan out on the table after months of just trying to work things out internally for yourself, or being put in a situation where you were trying to see the other side, trying to see another perspective, and that was a struggle for you. That was difficult for you. And after a time, when Aries isn't satisfied, like I was saying, referring to this Ace of Cups, when an Aries is not satisfied, ain't nobody gonna be happy. Let me tell you that. Ain't nobody gonna be happy. Okay? No offense to Aries, but when you're not happy, everybody else can just forget about it. Right? So I feel as though there's a lot of growth happening here, and I feel that there's a lot of personal development going on here, but I'm not sure that other people are able to understand it. I can see how it could work. I could see how you could see. I can see how Aries sees that what they're doing is correct for them. other people around you, roommates, family members, husbands, wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, children, all these people that are close to us, even some coworkers or people that we share business entanglements with, they're not getting it. But you're just like, but I'm loving myself. I'm taking care of me. Isn't that what I am supposed to do? Because again, what is that cliched phrase? If you can't love yourself, how can you love anybody else? That's true. And not love like, romantic love. Love is about appreciation. Love is about contentment. Love is about stability. Love is about so many things. And if you can't provide that for yourself, or if you can't demonstrate that yourself, you're not going to be able to properly do it towards other people. Correct? So, and this is surrounded by logical thinking. Knight of Swords, Six of Swords. So logically speaking, Aries is like, duh, what else would I do? If you're in a marriage or if you're in some type of relationship and things aren't going well, and the things that you've tried to do, the negotiations you've tried in the past, couples therapy, maybe getting a little kinky in the bedroom, maybe, in the middle of a pandemic trying to spend more quality time together instead of being like ships passing in the night, whatever you've done, and none of that worked, then in some of your cases, it falls back to the individual, does it not? This is kind of where I think Aries is coming from, or whoever. It's a general reading, so it can go the other way. But this falls back to an individual going, okay, we've tried to make things work the way, we've tried to meet in the middle towards each other, meet each other where we are. But there's still some type of dysfunction here. There's still some type of confrontation here. Things are not working. They're not flowing. It's more friction than flow. So because of that, reflecting on self or reflecting on the situation from a different perspective, an uncomfortable perspective. Maybe Aries, you were the one who's just like, we can make it work. I want to make it work. Is that what it is? Did some of you say, I want to make it work? And then after trying to do XYZ, XYZ, you come back and you say, you know what? It's not going to work. It's kind of like I see, it kind of confuses another person. Where, okay, but you said you wanted to work this out, and I'm wanting to work this out, but again, you're logically analyzing what's going on, and you're thinking, but we've tried everything. And now we have to work on ourselves, or I have to work on myself. So this Ace of Cups is an opportunity to know yourself better. This is an opportunity to love yourself better. This is an opportunity to take yourself and put yourself in the priority seat and make yourself better. For whether you're going to come back to a relationship that you've had in the past, whether you're going forward in other relationships, whether it be romantic, family, whatever realm this works for you. I like this for you. I'm talking specifically to one collective of people. I'm trying to talk to Aries, but if you're a cross watcher and it resonates with you, that's perfect. Go ahead and have a seat, take the message. But what I'm also sensing is it really is uncomfortable or confusing for the other side. Whatever the other side is, whoever the other side is, they don't understand. But you're the one I'm talking to, Aries, and I get it. So feel affirmed in that. Is that this tarot reading is kind of confirming that your journey, as night and day as it might seem, or as out of the blue it might seem to others, it works for you. And you need to walk this path and continue to walk this path, okay? Now, what I'm getting is a lot of you are starting over from zero, okay? Tower card. Secondary major for you, Aries, Tower, as it's ruled by Mars. You can also associate Scorpio with this energy, as Scorpio is co-ruled by Pluto and Mars. Why are you... Oh, jeez. With the dang focus. There you go. So Tower card. This is a leveling, right? In tarot, it always speaks to something being leveled, something being sort of reset, something being torn down, demolished, or altered something being altered in noticeable ways. It doesn't have to be violent. It doesn't have to be disruptive, as, you see this lightning striking this building, which is now on fire, and people are falling from this tower, right? It doesn't have to be so awful. It can come in positive ways. It can, the tower moment, for all intents and purposes, I'm not sensing this. I don't make predictions in this way. But a tower moment could be winning a lottery. That could be a tower moment, right? Because that changes your foundations. It shakes it up immediately, right? And it's very impactful. It doesn't have to be even a big moment like a lottery or something like, lightning striking a building. It can be very subtle. But whatever this is, it supports this changeover, this going from one stream or one lane, and it's an immediate shift, or it's even if it's not immediate, it's just a shift. You were in the fast lane or you were in the center lane, you move over, now you're in the exit lane. It's something like that, right? And a lot of you will be starting over from zero. Now, in your financial sector, I can understand that would put you into a panic. I wouldn't like it myself. But for some of you, this is like a severe start over in your finances. If not literally zero in the bank, it's pretty low, right? And that kind of falls, or that kind of tracks, I should say, because of everything that's going on in the pandemic. Lots of people are without income. Lots of people are trying to stretch their savings. Lots of people are under financial crunch. Okay, so that makes sense. And if you are going through that, you have my sympathies, you have my empathy, because, even though I don't like to think that money is important, which is don't be like me. Money is important. Money is just simply energy. And I'm working on changing my thought pattern around that. But whatever. Money and things that help us to maintain our foundation are important. And it's going to suck. No matter what this tower moment is, how it's embodied in your life, how it manifests in your life, it's going to suck, because I think a lot of you are yes, a lot of Aries, especially those that are watching tarot readings, not just mine, but tarot in general, I think you would pride yourself on knowing yourself. I think that you would think that you know yourself through and through. This experience, whatever it is, whatever changes you're going through, whatever things you're walking away from, whoever you're walking away from, whatever developments you're going through in your personal journey, whatever changes are happening to your finances or to your status, your socioeconomic status, all of this is educating you in a way that you were not prepared for. That's the bottom line of this tower moment for you, Aries, is that you weren't prepared for this. And that's usually what a tower moment in tarot is about. You weren't prepared. Okay? And it's not a faulting thing. You should have been prepared. No, I'm not saying that. The tarot's not saying that. Universe, spirit is not saying that. But it's shocking to your senses nonetheless, right? Aries likes to think that they know themselves. They like to have parameters or I wouldn't say predictable things, but you do like to know what you're working with. You do like to know who you're working with, the details and kind of what to expect, right? This is unexpected. What you're doing, you probably never thought you would walk away from this job, or you never thought you would be fired from this job or laid off from this job. But look at what happened with coronavirus. Or look at what happened with it doesn't even if your industry hasn't been affected by the pandemic, it could be mismanagement from higher ups. Look what they did. Oh, we're caught up in some type of financial scandal. Oh, there's all kinds of rollbacks in several departments, right? Because that's okay. For those who are familiar with me, I'm just going to use this as an example, because I'm a gamer. I'm not a gamer like, I'm an older gamer. Like, I don't get all like fussy about like, oh, Fortnite. That's not my thing. But and no shade, if you're into Fortnite, totally cool. But in the gaming industry, there was a huge shift, so to speak. Microsoft, the makers of Xbox, they're shutting down their streaming service, which is called Mixer, and they either sold it off or they're merging with Facebook Gaming, and it's going to become this other thing. I read a couple of articles that basically said that happened because the management inside of Mixer did not address toxic relationships or toxic environments, toxic work environments. They didn't, they were just more interested in poaching talent, poaching, big time gamers who have huge platforms and huge followings. They threw money at these people, brought them over to Mixer, and that wasn't enough to save the platform, right? So all these people who are employed at this company where maybe that was their dream job, or maybe they felt really secure. I'm working at this gaming company, or I'm working at this streaming service for Microsoft. It's a huge company. Microsoft isn't going under anytime soon, right? But that that arm of Microsoft's business is totally done. Totally donezo, right? So you may have had nothing to do with the ending of your job or the ending of your relationship or whatever the hell is donezo. But it's going to reshape you. It's going to put you on this new path of self-sufficiency, of self-love, of putting yourself, again, in the seat of priority, the seat of what does Aries need, what does Aries want, what is Aries' path, and you're going to go and you're going to do this thing. I like it for you, even though other people are not understanding this journey for you. I like it for you. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So, Tower moment, good or bad, Tower moment, big or small, it's a leveling. Clean slate. New job. In some of your cases, like you're literally moving to a different city, to a different country. Some of you might be moving to a different country, okay? Now that you've seen possibly wherever you are in the world, how your locality treated this pandemic, you're like, okay, never again, and you're going somewhere else. Maybe. Something like that. Wherever you're going, whatever you're doing, you're a novice. Page of Cups. Water sign energy, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. You're new to the game. Pages are always learning. Okay, and in particular, this Page of Cups is learning about emotions, learning about love, learning about self-love, self-care, right? Learning about the priority of emotions. Like for some of you, it's not out here. You don't have any pentacles, but I do get the sense coming from the Tower and the Six of Swords that foundationally something isn't what it used to be. And maybe there is a change in priority of that. Maybe you did put so much emphasis on your work, so much emphasis on your finances, so much emphasis on your business. And that would make sense if you're a small business owner. But now that possibly, and unfortunately, in some of your cases, maybe you're losing a business, and now you have to redefine yourself or redefine how you earn a living. Difficult. And what I'm sensing is treating yourself kindly. Not to give yourself a pass, not to sit and sulk. I don't know many Aries that are going to sulk for a very long time anyway, so I'm not worried about it. But the Page of Cups is about compassion, is about sympathy and empathy and learning these things. Like I said, the pages learn. You are learning to be more sensitive. You are learning to treat yourself and not kick yourself. Especially if you're losing something or something is being leveled in your life and it was, for all intents and purposes, out of your control. When the Tower shows up, it's most likely not in your control anyway because it's a major arcana, right? So be kind to yourself. I don't get the sense that you technically should feel guilty. And, please take it with a grain of salt. It's still a general reading. But I get the sense in many of your cases, someone or something about the situation you're in is kind of pushing you to feel guilty. You should feel guilty about this. You should feel ashamed of this. How could you? How could you? Why would you? Da, 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 da. Like a lot of criticism coming from that Knight of Swords possibly might be coming at you. And I don't think you should feed into that, honestly. I really don't. Because as much as it might feel like a slap in the face to someone else, as much as it might feel like you're acting selfishly towards other people, again, you can't succeed in being what you want to be, Aries, if you don't have this feeling of self-love and worth under your belt. And I think this Tower moment has shaken that up for you. At the very least, if it hasn't completely, leveled it out, it's shaken it up at least. And your values or how you prioritize your values or prioritize your needs is being shifted. And I think this is a continuing story. There is like no hard start and hard end to this, because even when we started, I was already sensing this is about some shit that's been going on for a while, months, if not years for many of you, right? And we've gotten to this turning point, and I'm seeing a little bit into the beginnings of your turning point, but I don't see like, and then you're going to end up doing blah, 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 blah. I have no way of seeing that here. But it's a work in progress, and I applaud work in progress. Nobody, the biggest finish line in life is death. All right. So nobody is ever finished learning or growing or developing, right? Your outcome, Aries, for July is the Ten of Swords. So simultaneous pain and discomfort and in some of your cases, the elements of betrayal, of feeling stabbed in the back and left for dead, but also simultaneously being free of that energy. That's very rare that I feel immediately the completion point of something, because tens talk to completion points in tarot in general, but I don't usually get it quickly off the bat. So I think you're kind of, for lack of a better word, you're kind of memorializing everything that you've gone through. You're kind of preparing to say goodbye to whatever happened before the Six of Swords. Whatever that pre-moment is, whatever that pre-existence was, that former self, that former situation, that former relationship, or the way that relationship used to show up in your life, that job that used to be there for you, that isn't there for you anymore, or the way that you're approaching it is different. Whatever is saying goodbye, you're memorializing it. You're remembering it. The good, the bad, the ugly, as this card shows, more like the ugly for now. But I think eventually, Aries, you're going to come away with a healthier perspective, a more balanced perspective. In the now, maybe some of your tower moments haven't actually hit yet. Because a tower moment, in the phrasing of it, moment, what is a moment? It's not called tower second. It's not called tarot. It's not called a tower hour. It's called a moment. How long is a moment? That's relative. So for now, I think some of you are looking at this change and you're kind of, because it's newness, Ace of Cups and the Page of Cups, because it's new to you, you feel like a fish out of water. You feel out of your depth. You feel ill-prepared. And that uncertainty rocks you. You don't like that. Okay? Cardinal signs, confidence. Cardinal signs, pioneering. Cardinal signs, planners. Executing a plan or implementing a plan, right? It's kind of like you don't have the plan fully formulated yet, and that adds to your discomfort, that adds to your uncertainty, that adds to possibly the pain or the blowback that other people are sending your way. So it's going to stay a little choppy, a little complicated for now. Tarot is not science. It's not concrete. This is not the final part of this story. This is just a glimpse of it at this moment. And whenever it resonates for you. This could have, some of you are like, I already did all this. Perfect. Others are right in the middle. Others are just beginning, right? I wouldn't worry too much about that as your outcome because, like I said, it's not science. It's not in concrete. It doesn't mean you're going to be suffering forever. And like I told you, quickly. I don't normally get it quickly when I do the tens. If you've watched me for a while, I don't usually mention right off the bat, oh, it's a completion point, because it doesn't come off that way to me, right? But I do feel many of you are going to be wrapping up with that type of energy. Overall is the Five of Wands. So for some, this was definitely fighting over a prize or fighting over finances. What do we see? Like two wolves or two foxes or something fighting over a bird or fighting over, the prize, the prey. Could have been in a few of your cases. This hasn't been a strong element, even though I know it's here. For those, this is a relationship thing. This could have been fighting over infidelity. This could have been fighting to keep a marriage alive or keep a commitment alive, whatever. But the Five of Wands is generally just about contention and strife and having it out. And again, that's the overall energy. I mean, similar to what I was saying earlier, the precursor to the Six of Swords is the Five of Swords, which is similar energy to the Five of Wands. It's not the same, but it is similar. So instead of it being the Six of, or the Five of Swords that came before the Six of Swords, maybe it's the Five of Wands. That was the precursor to everything we talked about today. So I wouldn't worry too much about either the outcome or the overall energy. I think the thing that you should stay focused on is your Ace of Cups path and your Page of Cups path, okay? Aries, that is your reading for July. Hello. Well, almost goodbye. But hopefully you guys liked it. If you did, there is a like button down below. You could hit that for me. If you want to leave a comment, let me know how this resonated in your life. I would love to read that. Feel free to share the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, my friends. Aries, I'll be back soon to do those mid-July readings. If you are feeling, you know, like you got nothing to do on July 11th, feeling like you have nothing to do, if you have nothing to do on July 11th, I will be going live for Cancer. So if you are dealing with a Cancer, you got two water cups here, or two water cards here. So maybe you are, but if you want to hang out, join me in the chat. I will be going live for them during their birthday season if you just want to check it out, and just, you know, spend some time with these anonymous pair of hands on the internet, okay? Other than that, my friends, I really do appreciate you taking your time to watch the video. Take care.